Back at the pond building job this morning. I got about another half day's worth of stumping to do over here and raking brush up. And then it's pretty much weather dependent on it raining so that I can safely burn. We got a little bit of moisture in the ground. I mean, the leaves are got some dew on them, but I swear I would like a rain shower before burning all that, because there's a lot of stuff that can catch on fire over there. I'm not really too worried about the solar farm. All that's grass over there, and that's not going to hurt anything. So I got to do my burn pit back over there, which is going to put it pretty close to the tree line. But that's just a lot of stumps and everything needs to be burned. I might just stack all this up and do a smaller fire over here to keep from having to move all that right there. That's just branches and stuff. That won't be too bad to burn right there, and just push all the dirt and roots, whatever's left, down there to the other side. So I'll figure that out, but I'm gonna go to that back corner this morning and finish stacking the brush up and get what stumps are left over there, get them over there to the pile where I'm gonna burn at. So I'm getting all the brush cleaned up over here in the back corner. It's all kind of piled in stumps that are still in the ground, so I'm having to grab it out with the excavator. I couldn't push it with the dozer. It's starting to get dry again. My track's squeaking. I have to go find some mud and drive through. So I'm going to finish grabbing what's left of this brush, put the stumper back on. I got maybe 12 or 15 stumps to rip up, and then this section will be done, and then I'm going to go over to the other side, and there's a few great big stumps over there. Get all those ripped up out of the ground and probably throw some brush. I'll probably go ahead and dig the burn pit just so that it's ready. There's a chance of rain tonight, so I don't know. I may dig a pit, pile a bunch of brush in there while it's got to be done is set on fire. Might be able to come back tomorrow morning and set it on fire. I've got to go back down to Charlie's and get Betty put back together. He ended up getting called on an emergency job last weekend, and we couldn't finish it up, bring it up here, so I'm going to try to go down there tomorrow at lunchtime and spend the night, get that put back together, and then Saturday morning bring it back up here. Fingers crossed. I hope that's how it works, because I'm about ready to be able to use it out here. I could use it now, but I got to work around his schedule since he's helping me out so much on getting everything taken care of. Good news is I think he found a lowboy. I think he's actually going today to pick it up, so I don't know if he'll be able to get the title work straight on it, but we might bring Betty back on it. I don't know. We shall see. Let's rip a few stumps out. stumps up here that don't have deep roots. That all changes when you get to a pine tree though. I think this was, I want to say that was probably a hickory tree. Now there are some hardwood trees that have tap roots. The sweet gum trees do have a pretty good tap root. But everything else is pretty well spread out on the surface. They only go down about 18-24 inches for the most part. That's why it's so easy to kill hardwood trees if you do any, you know, digging around them. They don't have the roots to go down deep, so if you dig around them, you pretty much cut all the main roots for the tree. Like those pine trees over there, I could dig a trench, you know, 3 foot beside it, and it'll probably be fine because the roots go straight down. But it would kill one of these trees. I think this one's a gum, so it's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. Bad. So I like to pick the stumps up and drop them. Some people ask why I don't just pick them up and shake them. Well, you see, I'm sitting here shaking it. It's beating the crap out of the machine, and there ain't hardly no dirt coming off. Alright, now watch this. I pick this bad boy up and fling it. 3 times as much dirt just fell off. I know you can't see it, but you can take it, spin it over like that. When it hits the ground, it beats the dirt off pretty good, and you're not tearing the machine up so bad and beating myself to death. And then you just take it and chunk it. Most of the time they'll roll. That one kind of landed flat. But be careful when you're flinging like that to actually let go of the stump. If not, you'll flip over. It will, if it hangs, if that stump hangs on the thumb or something, it will drag this machine right over. I've seen it happen. I've almost had it happen. It's not a pleasant feeling, so make sure you know what you're doing if you're going to start grabbing stuff that weighs, you know. That one wasn't so bad, that was a small stump. You get a 3,000 or 4,000 pound, 5,000 or 6,000 pound stump. Way out there on the end when you're spinning around, yeah. It happened to a friend of mine. His dad was running the excavator, or his uncle or something. Flipped it over perfectly flat, land like this. Flipped it over upside down on its side. I was like, how? That's how. Set the camera up outside when I grab those pine stumps over there. That should make a pretty good video. poplar stump up. I've dug around the back side, the front side. I'm going to see if I can rip this side out. There's a maple tree to the right, about 3 feet from it. I'm going to try to see if I can save it. I'm hoping this stump will kind of twist out. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. It's a whopper, about 4 feet across, with about 6 sprigs coming out of it. Betty right here, we could get her up. I could pull and it could push. Well, if I had somebody else running. I'm up, falling in the hole. Might have it. I don't know how well this tree is going to fare right there. Tippy toes. I think that tree's gonna have to come down. It's wiggling just as bad as the stump is. Let me see if I can come around and pull it out. See if it'll twist out. Come out. I'm going to go ahead and take the maple tree down. It's not going to survive this. I've got to dig out on this side. Ah, well, give me 1 minute here. I still think I'm going to take it down. I've ripped out all the roots off of one side. I don't know. Come on. take that tree down. It's most of the roots are sitting there hanging in midair now. It's not gonna survive all that. Alright, well, let me rake all this dirt off, dig up some more. Alright, so I got all these stumps dug up now and everything pushed over here to the pile. Kind of laid the pond out. It's going to be a giant kind of acorn shaped pond. From that flag to that flag's probably close to 200 feet. So it's going to be a nice little, we're shooting for 3/4 of an acre, 2/3, kind of, you can only put the size pond that'll fit in the area you're trying to work in. So, yeah, we'll burn whenever we can. I'm gonna go over here now and start digging the pit to burn in. What I want to do is lay out the pond to make sure that the pit I'm gonna dig to burn in is not within the pond. That way, because everybody's like, well, why don't you burn right here or dig a big pit and burn in? Well, then I've got all that ash and crap that I've got to deal with. So it is a little more work to move all that brush and everything, but it's always best to burn out of the area that you've got to work in, so you don't have to deal with that. So I'm going to come over here, strip the topsoil off and throw it out of the way, and I think I'm going to end up with some good clay here that I'm going to need for the pond dam. So I'm going to try to separate that out as I dig and keep it stockpiled over here, so whenever I do the pond dam I can use that material. Big burn pit right in here. So I'm working on digging the burn pit right now, and I stripped the topsoil off the areas, almost 2.5, 3 feet of topsoil. Now I'm digging the clay out. I know it doesn't look like a good red clay like I would normally use, but we have a thing called blue clay, and let me tell you what, blue clay does not allow water through it. It's probably some of the nastiest dirt you can deal with. It normally comes out when you dig it out of the bucket in a giant hunk the shape of the bucket, and it's horrible stuff when it's wet. It's like Play-Doh, and when it dries out it's hard as concrete, and when it gets wet again it turns back to slimy Play-Doh. But it is some of the best stuff for building, you know, lining a pond or not letting water out. As you can tell, it won't come out the bucket and it's trying to take me over as it comes. So I got maybe 2 feet of a tannish clay. It's got a little sand in it, so I'm just trying to mix all that together, and maybe it'll kind of make this a little bit more sandy and not quite so sticky. You know, if it got wet, it would be a little bit easier to deal with. It's called non-perking ground, which means it will not let water through. Obviously, if it didn't rain for 6 months, it would, you know, evaporate over time, but you could fill this hole up with water and it would just hold it steady. Normally, if the dirt sticks to the bucket, is the easiest way to tell that this is good material. But it won't grow anything, so you can't really put this out on a field or something like that. If you dig a pond, you kind of got to strip the topsoil off, spread this out, and then put the topsoil back on top. If not, you'll end up with an area that will never grow anything, because it is probably some of the most unfertile dirt. Shortly shy of rock. So what I'll end up doing is I'm going to stockpile this. The dam's going to go right there. I'm probably scoop it up with a loader and take it down there. But first, the whole pond side, I'll strip all the topsoil off, stockpile it. Yes, it's moving dirt twice, but I don't like to create a mess over here where you can't even use the ground because the dirt won't grow anything. So I'm going to dig on this till about 4 o'clock, so about another hour and a half. I ought to have a pretty good sized pit dug, and we'll just wait for the weather to determine Might have some showers come in tonight. I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Alright, so here's my little burn pit. Pretty little pile of dirt here. It's probably not big enough, but it's enough to start with. I'm afraid you can see the groundwater starting to come in. I don't want to dig one too big or any deeper because I think it's just going to fill it with water. So as long as that doesn't get over 2 feet in it, it'll be fine. I'm going to take some of this brush and stumps and go ahead and put down in there. That way, if it does happen to rain tonight, all we got to do is just go ahead and light it and let that start burning down. Some of the smaller brush, pile it in the bottom, then mix a few stumps in with it. That'll be the base for our bonfire. Should have a good fire. This stuff is pretty dry. Not too worried about that pile and stuff right there right now because it's out of the pond site area. I want this gone so that maybe I can start working on the pond. That thing's gonna take a long time to burn up. Mostly stumps. I want to get as much as those burnt before I burn all my brush, because then I won't have anything left to keep a nice hot fire going. If I burn all the small stuff first, I won't have anything to keep the fire nice and hot to burn all these stumps up that are gonna take forever to burn. This stuff's gonna take a while to burn right here, there's no doubt. All those stumps, they're slow going. Try to mix it all together, that way it should kind of burn down evenly. Maybe. It'll be good as long as this pile doesn't set that pile on fire and then I just have everything on fire. It's happened before.